Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam L, and this is Talk with the Titans. You know what? Tonight's show is actually a special. It's actually in honor of the fallen victims of the terrorist attack, and it's also in honor of our UK community. So today we're actually going to be talking about the terrorist attack that took place in Westminster with a particular fellow that's been named as Khalid Masood. So today we've actually got quite a lot of esteemed, guests from the UK, and I'm actually going to introduce a couple of them before we actually get started. So my brother Respect, are you there? Okay, Respect, are you there?
RBG salute.
Peace, 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 King. So you know what? Could you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your interaction with the police and what you're actually doing in the community as well?
Well, best thing to do is to type in police search black boys on Google, and the top post, you'll see it.
Cool. All right. So and now let's move on to my brother.
I've done a lot of police in the University of Law, lectured at the Oxford University of Law on stop and search. Had a stop and search laws of recent. So yeah, but I do a wide amount of activism, from trying to gang intervention. Yeah.
All right. You know what? It's cutting out a little bit, so I'm going to come back to you again in a hot second, and I'm going to go over to my brother Malik as well. So Malik, you could just introduce yourself.
What's going on? My name is Malik. I do activism within the community, and I'm an entrepreneur. And obviously, I'm pro-black, and I'm always trying to help the community in any way possible, in any way, shape, or form. So,
all right. Now let's get the energy up a little bit, because right about now we're actually talking about something that's really, really serious. So yesterday, you know what? Yesterday there was a terrorist attack that took place in Westminster. And what actually took place was a man named Khalid Masood, born in Kent, supposedly an English teacher and a father of 3 children, literally took a car, drove it over Waterloo Bridge, and striking down, actually mowing down several individuals, one individual being slingshotted over into the River Thames itself. And he then proceeded to crash the vehicle, get out the vehicle, run into Parliament Square itself, into the estate, and actually stab a police officer multiple times to death, and then being shot down multiple times. I believe it was shot 3 times in the chest, and he was taken to the hospital and then pronounced dead, supposedly. Now, in that being said, there's been a lot of controversy revolving around this issue or this incident that took place. One of the first things was, there was a claim that the person itself who was actually did these things was a man by the name of Abu Izzadeen, which was reported by Channel 4, saying he was the one who actually dealt with this and was the terrorist involved. We're going to go into that a little bit later on into depth. Also, I want to actually ask some questions to our audience members. I want to ask the question, how does this actually affect our community? I'm talking about the Black community in particular and the community in general. I want to know, is it, Islam's fault for this? There was a guy by the name of Tommy Robinson. I believe he deals with Britain First, a very, I don't know how to say it. He almost seems borderline racist to certain individuals. He was claiming that it was Islam's fault. It's the influx of Asian and Easterners coming into this country that is obviously going to be these type of things taking place. And I want to know, should the Black community take responsibility for the actions of other Black people from the Islamic background getting themselves involved with such incidents as well? So I actually want to open it up to everybody. I want to know, what was your first reaction yesterday, at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when you actually heard this atrocity taking place? And I'm going to open it up to, first of all, Nams. Nams, please unmute your mic and talk to me.
Yeah, my initial reaction was actually, I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked at the same time. But it was also, what alarmed me was just how the story just didn't make sense from the get-go. There was so much gaps in the story that it just felt like they had just rushed this whole story and put it together. I'm just like, yeah, this is what happened. And it was just like, wait, hold a minute. Like, how does this work? And how does this, like, it didn't make any sense. So from the get-go, I hadn't even fully gone into it, but there was just so many question marks that I was just like, what is going on? So that was my initial reaction.
Indeed. I'm going to open that up now to my brother Malik. Let me know.
Obviously, as soon as I heard, I knew that obviously Islam would get brought into this. And I knew, obviously, because we live in England, people already have a racist kind of like Islamic view. So I knew people straight away would be talking about immigration. Funnily enough, I knew that would be a subject. And when they first said it was Abu Izzadeen, they mentioned that he was Jamaican. So I thought, rah, why are they mentioning that? Do you get what I'm saying? It just felt, and the way how they described him, black with a beard, they're black guys now, like irrelevant of whether they follow Islam or not. We wear beards as fashion. So I knew that we would somehow get brought into the mix. But for me, it's just any black or brown person in general, they're always going to try and make us look bad. And immigration is always on the agenda. So, and it's been on the agenda. They're always talking about Brexit, no. Do you know what I'm saying? It all just kind of ties in with everything, really, to me. But like Nam said, the story just didn't really make sense. Do you know what I'm saying? They tried, like she said, they just tried to wrap it up too quickly. It was just, and as well, I've been Parliament myself. You can't really do anything around there. Like, do you know what I'm saying? You couldn't do nothing around there as far as I'm concerned. You try to park around there, your car's gone, innit? So for me, for a man to do all of that, it feels very. And also, they said as well, this guy's got no links to terrorism. But then they're raiding people's houses all over the country. Just don't make sense to me, really. Like Nam said, it's just.
So I want to know, is this another fake news story, or is there actually something going on here? And what is the agenda as well for the misinformation that's been actually released amongst the media?
Well, I personally think it's a cover-up, because I feel like I really want to know what was happening in Parliament and why they were held in there for so long. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I found was actually hilarious as well? Sorry for saying this. The fact that Parliament was on lockdown. Parliament was on lockdown. An attempted escape from Parliament by Theresa May. She was the only person, the Prime Minister, the only person who was actually escorted off the premises while everybody else was on lockdown. I found that funny, But anyways, I want to know again. I want to go back into this. I want to go back into, how did, obviously most of us here are coming from the Afro or Caribbean background. How did you feel when you first heard that this man was potentially Abu Izzadeen, a Jamaican convert to Islam? How did that make you feel? How do you think, was that something you felt that you as a black man would be targeted, or the blacks in general would be targeted by the police, by the media?
They always use anything like this as for black males. That's always the agenda on the line. That's why when it happened, I just wished it was a white guy that done it, because at least then they would say, he's But when it's a black person, they use it as a reason to tarnish every black person. So black men with a beard right now, yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Okay. And let's just get it clear as well. It's reported that it actually isn't a black man. It isn't somebody from Jamaica itself. It's reported that this man is actually an Asian convert to Islam. An Asian convert to Islam. That's what has been reported via the Sun, via the Telegraph, and where else? Huffington Post, I believe, also makes the claim as well. So just to get it out there, is actually an Asian man by the name of Khalid Masood. He also has various aliases as well, that actually lived in Birmingham, was a teacher in Kent that taught English, and supposedly was a what is it called now? A bodybuilding enthusiast. I don't know how, you know, he looked like he was in worse shape than me, but at the same time, this is what it's reported. So what I'm actually going to open up now, what I actually want to talk about, let me see. We've got so many questions here. I want to know as well, should, you know, the black community feel sorrow for those people that were involved with inside of the incident? This was a big conversation yesterday. Should we as black people feel sorrow for those individuals involved? Should the Islamic world feel sorrow for those people that was actually involved? I'm talking about the victims of this this so-called terrorist attack. Should we feel sorrow for those individuals? I've heard a lot of arguments that being proposed. You know, the British government has been going on into Africa, going on into Arabia, and they're killing hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals, and nobody mourns for these people. But as soon as there is an attack, a terrorist attack, taking place in European countries like France, Britain, and elsewhere, America, there is always, you know, a pray for whatever country, you know, the flag is put up over Facebook, but never for African or Arabian related countries. So I want to know, should we as a community feel sorrow? And of course, I'm going to try to play the devil's advocate throughout these conversations to get a much more fuller in-depth conversation. So I'm going to throw it out there. Whoever wants to take the bite, please bite.
I think as a black community, like if we don't show some sort of passion towards what is going on everywhere in the world, then there is something that needs to be looked at, because at the end of the day, you know, a death is a death, a life is a life. However, I do feel that this whole situation has been kind of manipulated anyway, because if it was like I said in earlier, if it was in anywhere else in the UK or somewhere that's not in Westminster, then would we actually be considering it even to be a terrorist attack? Because especially in the beginning, because the first things that we heard was, oh, it's a terrorist attack, it's a terrorist attack. But at the end of the day, it was a car accident. And yeah, somebody did get out the car and apparently stabbed someone. But we wouldn't, if it was anywhere else, we wouldn't necessarily relate that. And I also do feel that if it wasn't a person of color, it wouldn't have been directed as a terrorist attack either. It would have been directed as more to do with, you know, maybe mental health issues, or, you know, there was something about that person. They wouldn't make it into like a whole kind of terrorism thing. And I think this whole, you know, using the word terrorism and all this, you know, invoking fear among the masses, and you know, the media blackout, you can't talk about anything else. There's so many things that happened yesterday that never got spoken about in the news, and nobody really cared. So, you know, I think all of these things rolled up together is kind of questionable. At the end of the day, it's very sad that people lost their lives, and you know, I think we all should be, you know, should think about that. However, the Muslim community apparently raised like £3,000 for the officer that died, who probably didn't necessarily need that money, but just to show their solidarity. So therefore, as a Black community, if we're gonna agree or disagree on something, then we still need to show that solidarity. So, you know, you just show what we can do. And there should be some kind of media out there to say that if a Black man is going to be accused of something, that we could actually set the record straight and say, no, actually, that's not the way it is. But we can't even come together as a community to do the simplest things. So, if we can't have like a media out there that's actually telling the truth, or, actually standing up for us. So I think all these issues are, problems that we need to look at ourselves.
All right, thanks, Queen. I'm going to put it on over to Malik, and we've also got a special guest in the building. Captain Mashak Mayam is here with us. ISUPK is in the building, but I'm going to go to Brother Malik first, and then we're going to get the rest of everybody else involved.
Obviously, for me, yeah, the innocent people, do you get what I'm saying? We should obviously, like, we shouldn't, obviously, we should feel sorrow, innit? Because a life's been taken for no reason, innit? But I feel like as Black people, we need to start watching out for ourselves, innit? So we have to start thinking, how does this impact on us, innit? And for me, the way they were so quick to launch on the fact that it was a Black person, listen, they had videos of him up doing mad preaching, talking to the Home Secretary mad. These times it's a Black guy sitting in jail. And this is nothing new to our community, do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, for us, we need to like remember that even though those politicians in there, that's our enemies too. Because if we were sitting in Libya right now, who would be your enemies? Who would be your enemies? Who would you dislike? It would be these people that's in parliament. So I don't wish death on these people, but if something bad happens to them, we shouldn't be the first ones to be out there being upset. We should reserve judgment. Just the same way as if a young Black boy dies, they reserve judgment. They will never come out to you. Trust me, I've worked around a lot of white people doing construction and that, and I'll be honest with you, like they had no sympathy for Mark Duggan. They had no sympathy for Jermaine Baker. They were just like, oh, he's a drug dealer. So we have to reserve judgment on these things, you understand? Until we see the whole picture. Like you said, it's turned out it's an Asian person. So it might not even be a Black person. So just reserve judgment because you don't even know what's going on.
I hear that. I hear that. Does anybody else want to say anything? No? Ras?
Yeah, advocate as well, the godly advocate. Ra's advocate. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The thing is, with this whole sorrow thing, yeah, when there's a loss of life, naturally as African people, we're spiritually in it. We naturally feel for everyone. You know what I'm saying? So no one wants to see a loss of life anywhere. But we have to put it into perspective. In comparison to what's happening in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in all of these Muslim countries, and it's by the hands of these countries. You know what I'm saying? So to be all over the world doing all of this, and then us in the UK, because we're here, we're nice. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see nothing like this. It's foolishness, because since African slavery, you know, all it's been is colonialism, and they've built up their thing off of our blood. I mean, Nat Turner and them, man, when they licked down, when a slave master got licked down, you couldn't really ask them, man, to really feel compassion. You know what I'm saying? And for me, you can't tell a people how to be oppressed. So when a slave master is whipping against your back, you can't really tell someone how to react to that. And I don't condone the actions of what was done, because it's just not, for me, it's not morally right or intelligent. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Black people, we win this war. We win this war by educating ourselves, by working together. You know what I'm saying? We don't win the war by fighting them. They've got way more guns.
Here. Now, I want to know, where is my pro-black militant-minded advocates at? Because I'm hearing a lot of apologetic talk. I'm hearing a lot of docile talk going on. I want to know, yeah, where the other side is, because, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm hearing words from Malcolm X talking about, you know, we shouldn't be crying when what's it called? Well, somebody finish off that line for me. I'm just waiting for somebody to finish off that line for me. Okay, I'm just saying, you shouldn't be crying over those things. Hold on 1 second there. And also, like, why are you caring? Like, why are you caring? There is like a white people getting killed, and then there's an Asian person doing it. Shouldn't you be sitting back and be like, okay, this is the end times. This is the prophecies coming true right about now. This is where those people go to war, they mess up themselves, we come up and we start taking over. I don't know. I've heard certain things like that. So I want to know, like, where is my pro-black minded individuals that aren't here to do TV, aren't here to do YouTube, aren't here to be politically correct, are here to just give it to you as is. In that being said, my brother Mashak Mayam, I don't know, have you got anything to say?
I have a lot to say, Kalam. First off, I'd like to say shalom and good night to, I imagine it's very late over there, to everybody. I appreciate you having me on the panel. And I was looking at the news very closely. And first off, I'd like to say the white man is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. Let's get that out the way clear and put it on the table for everybody to dislike or like if you want to. White man is the devil, all right? And what the Bible says is what you reap what you sow. God is not mocked. So for 400 years, they terrorized us. For 400 years, they raped our women, enslaved our men, lynched and burned our children. Did it to the Hispanics and the Native Indians up till this day with no remorse. And we never strike back against them. In fact, we join them. We join England. We join America. We join their religions. We champion their religions. And the members of those religions, the ethnic members of those religions, meaning the Arabs, the sons of Ishmael, and the Edomites, the sons of the white man, they never come to our help. They never come to our plea and our plight. Nobody felt sorry for Mark Duggan. It wasn't on the news like these were innocent people. Does anybody know if that cop who was killed was a child molester? Do they know if he was a drug dealer? They don't know anything about him, and we will never know. They will never assassinate his character. Now, I ain't jumping on the side of the Muslims either, assuming this is a Muslim who did the terrorist act. I don't know. I'm just going on the assumptions. But this is what I have to say. The Bible says in Jeremiah 15:5, if you could bear with me, for those of you who are allergic to the truth, for who shall have pity on thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Like with all of this, no one comes out to what's going on in Brixton and Peckham. No one comes out to what's going on in Hackney. No one comes out to what's going on in Leicester. And for years, these Arabs have oppressed black people.
Amen.
You can't remember down in London, in East London, the SMS gang was putting black men to death because they wouldn't pick up no goddamn Quran. Now, you want me to feel sorry for either side? Goddamn either side. You know what? I do feel sorry for you, but I'm crying too much for Michael Brown. I'm crying too much for Eric Garner. I'm crying too much for Mark Duggan. And when those tears are finished, then I could cry for some white boy on the ground in Westminster. Then I could cry for somebody on a car ride over there. I don't have enough tears for those people, but this is what I do say. Separate from the white man and separate from the Arabs and join your people. Let them fight their war. Let them bomb each other and kill each other and stab each other to death in the streets. We need to come together and stop doing it to ourselves. Let them die and we can enslave them all. Revenge is not in the hands of one dead cop. One dead cop who making what, £22,000 a year? You mean to tell me his life is in exchange for Mark Duggan? Them Arabs cheap, man. If a one dead cop could pay for all the thousands of lives of Arabs that UK bombed, then them Arabs' lives cheap. That cop can't pay for Mark Duggan's life. I want to enslave them all. I want to send the queen in the fields to pick cotton, like she sent my grandmother to pick cotton. And that can't be achieved by splintered approaches and splintered attacks on civilians and one-offs. It has to be achieved by one body. Just like how they did it, they enslaved us and that was strong. We need to come together and we can enslave them. And that would be strong. And that would be fair and that would be righteous. And when we rule, there ain't gonna be no suicide bombing. There ain't gonna be no terrorist attacks. We're gonna put everybody in the ground who does not bow to a black man.
Jeez, bombshells. Now I know that's going to cause a lot of controversy with inside of the comment section via YouTube. I want to know, YouTube, what are you thinking right now? I want to know, my community, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Please type it up. I'm definitely going to share your questions. I'm going to share your comments live on air as well, so you could be part of the conversation. And you know what? I want to bring it over now to my UK audience, or should I say my UK panel members. What are your thoughts? And I actually want to bring it in, first of all, for those, no, I need to get somebody who disagrees with my brother, actually. I definitely need to get someone who disagrees with my brother. But for now, Malik or Russ, chime in.
Yo.
Nigel, 1 minute. Let me just say, Nigel disagrees as well. You get.
All right. So Nige, if you're able to come on, please jump in. Is he here?
Obviously, let me chime in then.
Go to Malik say his thing. If he might come after me, he finishes, isn't it?
Obviously, for me, there's nothing that I don't
Sorry, brothers and sisters. Nigel's microphone and speakers aren't working, so we can't actually comment. Can't actually say anything. That's why I think he's left. So yeah, that's what.
Tell him to ring my phone. Give him my number. Ring my phone, and I'll get him up.
All right, cool. I'll let him know.
Cool.
All right, continue, Jazz and Malik.
Well, do you know what it is? I agree with what he's saying. To be honest with you, when you get to the bare grips of everything, that's what it is. But I feel like from the group chat and like the original question of what we were going off of, is I think where the sort of passion, and this is what I was trying to explain yesterday as well, where I feel like so much passion of that conversation came from was because all of that had just happened. And before we had acknowledged them wrongly accusing a black man of and branding him as the face of terrorism, yeah, like we're automatically saying, oh, that poor Fed or that poor police officer that lost his life. And I feel like we really need to address the sort of state of mental programming that our people are under, where we are almost compelled to initiate our first compassion, not for our own, if that makes sense. And that goes off of a lot of what the brother was speaking about, because I feel like that is what got everyone so hot and bothered. It wasn't even the fact that we're not acknowledging the human life that was lost, but it's to put that life and that force that is always been so oppressively put upon us, even in the times of when we could have said RIP the civilians, do you know what I mean, who got killed, or RIP anybody else, like anybody else, before we were told to acknowledge that fact. And I feel like that is something that as a community we definitely have to work on within our own, because like our brother was saying before, it's time we got to start doing for our own first. And if we ain't willing to acknowledge and do for our own, we're always gonna be behind. And it's like, that's why these conversations are good as well, because we really do need to get thinking that they did just brand the face of terrorism in the UK as for these white people, any black guy they see walking around with a beard now. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's flashing those images up and putting up those mental images and visuals that are just going to sit in people's brains and that are going to have resonated effects. And we've already acknowledged this. So to be honest with you, we need to start getting ourselves together and like, where are our representatives to say, this is not okay. You can't do this to us. You're not putting us in this position. Like, if this was anyone else, God forbid this was a Jewish person, God forbid this was an Arab person, God forbid this was anybody else, someone would have been standing up saying, are you mad? Are you mad? You've branded this as our people. Muslim people have already put 3,000 in a backlist. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the mental conditioning of what it's doing to people and how we are represented. And I feel like the brother said before, if we do not address this within our own mental state, and if we're not willing to acknowledge that, you know what, you're going to have to go against what maybe your brain initially tells you what to do, and you have to look towards your own, because otherwise we're always going to be 10 steps behind. And it's like, it's weird. But again, that leads on to another thing that we were talking about in the group chat is, can you work as a police person and be pro-Black? Do you know what I'm saying? It's a very interesting confliction, and I feel like these conversations need to be had because we need to deal with it. Like, the time is now. Do you know what I mean? So address it, move forward, and be more for us than just what you're told to be for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. If anybody else hasn't got anything to say, I want to actually ask that question. I want to know, can you, our sister just asked the question, can you be pro-Black yet still work for white supremacist organizations such as the Metropolitan Police, such as the Royal Army Forces, and any other type of occupation along those lines that has to uphold that agenda? Let me know. Can you still be pro-Black?
Can I just say that everybody that is in the system is in under white supremacy, and whether you're paying taxes, whether you're buying products from the shop where you're paying taxes, whether you got a job, whether you get benefits, regardless of what you do, you're in the system. Yeah, at the end of the day, you've just got to make it work for you. And can I just say, like, in regards to the chat, I think it's really sad that we've got people like commenting just because Jazz is light. Like, we need to get over that as well, because it's just ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, I think, like, at the end of the day, it's about communication, as I said before. And if Jazz, as Jazz said, we're going to come together as a community, we need to talk. What we need to remember, yeah, is that the spy is the most important part of any kind of war. Yeah, the infiltrator is the most important part in any type of war. Yeah, you need the soldiers on the ground, you need the people to do the administration, you need the people to infiltrate and see Wagwan on the other side. Yeah, so by the fact that we're knocking what people are doing, and furthermore, nobody like, well, obviously she's aiming it at me, yeah, but at the end of the day, nobody ain't paying my bills, yeah, nobody ain't feeding my children, yeah, nobody ain't seen what kind of life that I've had to lead. Nobody knows what I actually have to do on a day-to-day basis. So therefore, until you can either do all of those things, then you can't really say anything. Second of all, it's about solutions, because at the end of the day, the police do a lot of things for the community, regardless of, yeah, we all know what the police brutality, we all know about how they feel against Black people and people of color. We all know that story, yeah. But at the end of the day, like I said yesterday, if a child is being abused, or your house gets burgled, or somebody gets murdered, or somebody gets knocked over in a car and ends up in pieces on the floor, or all these types of things, yeah, who is going to deal with it? If somebody goes and hangs themselves, it's the police that has to deal with it. If somebody passes away unexpectedly, it's the police that have to knock on your door and do it. So at the end of the day, we actually need to have solutions. If we don't want these people to be getting involved in our life, then what are we going to do? How are we going to how are we going to overcome all of these situations? But the thing of it is, nobody ain't got a solution, because all we want to do is judge other people. We want to criticize. We want to tell other people what they should be doing, when we ain't watching what we're doing, and we're not like being our brother's keeper. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, all of this cannot be resolved until we're actually going to say, okay, what we're going to do. And there are people that are doing a lot of things out there, but at the end of the day, we also need to come together. if we're not going to come together and we're not actually going to take money out of our pockets and we're not actually going to, you know, put the work in, this is going to be hard work. This is not easy. Yeah, this is not easy. You see, these police officers now that are in Westminster, they're on 24-hour shifts. They're on 48-hour shifts. Yeah, they're on the grind. Yeah, are we willing to be coming out of our yard and going on 24 hours to be dealing with our people? Do you know what I mean? There's in Africa now, there's people starving. There's, you know, there's things kicking off all over in our own countries. Yeah, there's women getting killed and heads cut off and everything in Jamaica. Yeah, I don't see nobody doing nothing about these things. So yeah, we should be focusing on our own things, but at the end of the day, we can't come as a community and do anything because all we want to do is judge and talk. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, what is Black power? If you like, listen, the application of knowledge is power. Yeah, if we are not going to apply all the knowledge that we have, then what is the point?
Teach, sister. I hear you. I hear you.
Listening. Hold on a minute. Let me
time. I hear you, people. I hear you. At the same time, I just want to know, how would you guys?
Can we just like respond to that? Can we just address that? Obviously,
you're gonna respond to it. I just want to ask this question to our audience, broader audience. How would you guys feel if you found out, and I'm gonna disclose it right now, hypothetically, that I work for the police? I'm actually an MI5 agent. I work for the police, but yet I'm here. I'm doing this stuff for my people. How would you guys feel? Would you guys you know, brandish me as a traitor? I'm a person who's trying to infiltrate the Black community, the Black organization. Why do we have so much mistrust for those people who seek professional jobs, such as in the police organization? Again, I said hypothetically 3 times. Please don't even try to throw that in there for me. I'm not looking for your pressure tonight, people. I'm not looking.
You know, it is generally.
Malik, go ahead.
After Malik, can I say something after Malik? Yeah.
Yeah, go through.
Let me just wrap this up quickly, because Jazz wants to say something. But generally, the reason why most of the time we don't trust the police and the army is because the Black people in there, we do realize that generally in the past they have done nothing for us. Zero. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie to you. In Tottenham, yeah, I'm telling you, the police that treat you the worst are the Black ones. Yeah, like Gig said in the song, Black officer moving like a straight bounty. They're trying to show all of the white people that they work around, I'm not like these other Black people. I'm different. So that's why we have the mistrust, innit? Straight.
That's right. You're right. I fully agree with you, Kush. You for sure right with that.
Yeah, it's true. And my thing is this, yeah, it's not simply, I'm not acknowledging there may be good people and all this stuff, yeah. I'm not saying that as individuals, but you have to understand, especially as a Black person, yeah, you're going in to an organization that has been based and set up to demonize and get rid of your people, target number 1. And you will experience this yourself. Your family members will experience this themselves. And my personal confliction, and again, my personal confliction, because we are all individuals in here, but my personal confliction is, are you willing to, like, I'm not willing, like that feeling that it leaves me with, and the knowing and acknowledgement of the knowledge of what your organization is based to do. I'm not willing to join you to get a check, fam, and to get an easier ride in certain situations. I can't do that. I would rather scrub floors. I'll be real with you, but that's for me. I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying for me personally. So for me, any interference with a system that is number 1 basis of white supremacy in this country, that is targeted at you on a day-to-day basis for the reason that you are 7 times more likely to be stopped than anybody else on road. Yeah, 7 times more likely. These people, you're gonna go join the gang.
So you know,
if you infiltrate on a small infrastructure, unless you're infiltrating on a mass level, you're going to be majority ineffective.
So with that
Do you know
same
what I'm
logic,
saying? And you have to acknowledge that.
with that same logic,
That's all.
why are black people flocking in numbers coming over to Western countries, coming over to the UK, coming over to the US, and to be members, citizens? They're actually subjects of the Queen over here in the UK. Why do you choose to come from Jamaica, wherever you're from, to come to this country to subject yourself to the most racist, white supremacist
Western world is the
countries?
Kalam, if I could say something on that, but I believe the brother, I think it's Ras, brother with dreadlocks, he had something to say before. I would like to hear his point, but I want to address those two questions you asked about joining the police force and why we as black people, so-called black people who are really 12 tribes of Israel, choose to leave our native lands and travel to the US and the UK. But I would like to hear the brother with the dreads. I believe he had a point he wanted to make before me.
Go ahead, Russ. Unmute your mic, King. And Heather, I see you.
Hello?
Is Heather here? Go ahead, go ahead. Russ.
Hello? Yeah, welcome, bro. Okay, so I'm going to start with my statement. The facts that the Hebrew brother brought to the table, I would say sometimes the reason why depending on where we are, especially within society and where we're working, sometimes we'd have to watch how, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes, you know, wisdom when we're in the belly of the beast. Me, I'm talking from experience here because I've had police, you know, really physically and doing the work I've done in the community. Now, with the infiltrators thing, like people that work for police, people that work for army, I've read the art is the most powerful person in the war. So if people are joining these institutions to get the immunity, and they're letting the community know that's their mission, I'm not the first to condemn that, but I think that anyone who is doing that should get it from no basis. The reason why that is because there's been a lot of double agents, yeah, who have worked for the and basically they you know, give information to the police. Now, if they're doing that, I think they should be putting the community first and police as an institution, because this is still an institution for our oppression. Did police show condolences when Mark Duggan was killed? Did they show when Tamir Rice was killed? Did the police show condolences when hundreds of black people have been killed? They have never shown condolences when they have killed them. So I don't be trying to, you know, get each other to do that. And finally, what police do does not take away from the evil in the community. If police were abusing black sisters on a daily, yeah, that would not now be taken away because a police saved someone's life down the road. And I'll leave it there for now, and I'll chime in a little bit later.
Okay, before anybody else comes in, I would just like to give my thanks for those people who are actually out there supporting Talk with the Titans and Titans TV. For those of you who are new, Titans TV was birthed out of the idea that the intellectual giants, the titans of our community, should have a well-organized platform to present, discuss, and debate critical information affecting our community, proposed by you, our audience members, our community. So far, this proposition of this, you know, this attack that took place has been brought up, and all the racial issues as well has been brought up. So henceforth, we're giving you this information. Also, I would like to apologize to everybody who came in and tried to tune in yesterday. We're going to have our brother Sarah Sutton Seti on Talk with the Titans, hopefully tomorrow. He set up for us to do a show with him tomorrow. I might be occupied, but I'm going to try my very best to free up my time and provide you with Sarah Sutton Say tomorrow. So please look out for that in the early afternoon tomorrow. Also, What else? I would also like to give a big thank you to my brother. Where is he? Global Media Inc. My brother Global Media Inc. has donated some money in the cause of supporting Titans TV. I'm not too sure if everybody can see my screen right now. So shout outs to Global Media Inc. For actually supporting us. And if you would like to support us and give a donation, there is a donation button right here. All you have to do is click on Super Chat, send a Super Chat, type in the amount of money you would like to send, and literally send it off to Titans TV to support the great work that we are trying to do here. So thank you, Global Media Inc., for actually supporting us, and please tune into his channel as well. Now, I'm going to sling it straight back over. Who wanted to talk? Was it Nams and then Brother Mashak, or straight to Mashak?
I believe I had, I wanted to jump in real quick just to address them two questions you had posed, and what the brother, I forgot it. I didn't want to keep saying the brother with the dreads. I didn't want to sound like Isaac Babylon himself. But I forgot the brother's name who just spoke. And he hit the nail on the head with one act of police brutality does not get negated by a good cop, right? And what you have to look at is that the history of the police force was birthed in the slave patrols. That's where it really started, and it was organized then after. And the police force, your military force, all those are arms of a government to push the government's ideals and agendas. Like, without a military, you cannot have a government, you cannot have a state. You cannot have power without the strong man. A man who's a drug dealer. I hate to use the example, but it's something we might be familiar with, either with personal experiences or with movies. A man who's a drug dealer don't get respect unless you have a strong man. Even in the movie Shutters, everybody respected Max and Biggs because of everybody respected Biggs and the other guy because of Max. You understand? Like, you had to have that strong arm to push your philosophy and your agenda. So even the brother or the sister who may have the well-being of their community at the forefront of their mind, they may really get up and really believe in protect and serve. They may really believe in the laws of the land and making the community better, not pushing for the betterment of their people, but to keep the foot of the queen on black people's neck, and to keep the foot of America on black people's neck, whether they understand it or not. So I would not go and cast a blanket over every black brother or sister Hispanic brother or sister who's a member of the police force or the military, but I would tell you, get out as soon as you can, like the movie. Get out. Leave it alone, retire, go do something else, go deliver mail, go do something else. Your black people need you, not the queen. Theresa May don't need you. She have enough white boys in the EDL to die for her at the hands of some crazy Arab. You don't want to end up like Judah Bundy, which is the classic case. He wanted to help his community, and out of the goodness of his heart, he wanted to be what? A police community race relations officer. What happened to him? He got tased like a criminal on the ground in front of his dog by a white female devil. You understand? Like, that's what happens. Even though you try to work for them and give them your soul and your heart, you're still a nigger. You're still a slave. You're still the son of a slave, and you will never be anything better to these people. But to me and you, to the brothers in the hood, to Kalam and everybody in Brixton and Peckham and Leicester and Nottingham and Manchester, you a brother, you a sister, and we see value in you. And we would never do that to you, but the Queen would. You understand? The Queen would. Now, the second question about why is it we as a people leave our own lands and go elsewhere for betterment? It's because, and this is fact, in 1974, then American President Ronald Reagan had a relations officer called Henry Kissinger, and he established certain memoranda that proved most of the world resources are located in third world communities. And America, being only 6% of the world's population, needs 35% of the world's resources to live and to succeed and survive. So they had to expand their footprint. So in order to do that, I have to know, is a competition for resources and food. I have to kill those people there and lessen their lifespan and fill them with diseases so my people could live. which is the way of life. It's nature. The biggest person eats. The biggest person, the strongest person is going to have access to the most resources. And now they came into our countries and our lands and destroyed it. And you see it today in America, mainly because of what's happening on the Hispanic borders. 4 years ago, Attorney General Eric Holder had a gun program called Operation Fast and Furious, where they had a CIA and FBI initiative that cracked down on all the drug cartels in Mexico and took all the guns off the streets. They then went to mark the guns and the bullets and put them back into the Central America and said they would track the drug dealers there by the bodies that come from those guns through the bullets and forensic science. So now you create a hellhole in Central America, and you wonder why they run the Trin de la Muerte to come to America, why they come across the border, why they sell their bodies to come across the border, because the white man is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. He makes our home uninhabitable. He makes our home unlivable. He takes and takes and takes, and then gives the brainwashed idea that now you could come to my land, come to my house after you done raid my house, come to my house and eat good and be a good upstanding Briton and be a good upstanding American, when really it's another part of the conveyor belt of slavery. They did the same thing with the Middle East. Russian president and the internationals officer said America and Tony Blair with Britain opened the gates of hell in the Middle East when they killed Saddam Hussein, because he was the strong man keeping all them crazy terrorists underfoot. And now what happening? Europe has an entire immigration problem. Their problem is a bit more, not a bit more, their problem is given more care and attention now because media is all over it recording it. And of course, them Arabs blowing everything up. But imagine 400 years of the Spanish conquistadors raping your women and children. 400 years of European colonists going down in Jamaica and cutting your hands and legs off because you ain't picking enough cotton, working you to death, and then give you Christianity and Islam and then tell you come to America and come to UK. That's why we're in their countries. You ask anybody, they'll go back to Jamaica in a second if the money was good. They'll go back to Trinidad and Puerto Rico in a second if they could eat and live. But the white man, being the devil he is, he makes our house unlivable so we can become better slaves for his society.
Jeez, I don't think we can argue with that. I don't know if anybody's got an argument with that, so to say. Nams, I know that you want to get in right now.
I just want to clap or leave a round of applause for that speech that guy just gave. Yeah. On point.
100%.
Hey, Ras.
Listen. I'm saying right now, the is resonating with ISGPK. Okay, if you're not talking, please mute the mic so there's some feedback. Nams, if you're there, please open up your mic.
Yo, Kalam. And I missed out.
Yep.
It was in the British Army. And now them same brothers are using their skills to teach other brothers what they learned in there. So that's one example of someone trying to liberate the nation. But like I said, that was their man's vision from early. So we have to know the vision of the people. But Nams, where you at?
Yeah, I'm here. So yeah, I just wanted to make a few points. Now, I don't disagree with anything that anyone said. I just want to put that out there. I'm not dismissing anything anyone said. Is very relevant. However, I do feel that it's important to look at things from a realistic perspective. Now, going back to the point about the police, and we want to talk about Black Power, but we don't even have the foundation to enforce that Black Power. When I talk about foundation, the police system in itself, yes, there is police that do police brutality and all that kind of stuff. However, not every Black person is conscious. And police, like, if the police wasn't there, a lot of stuff that do happen with regards to domestic violence that takes place in a lot of our community, that not a lot of people like to talk about, a lot of us wouldn't have that protection because we don't have a system in place to replace that. So when we're talking about revolution and black power, we're talking all that stuff and we have all this zeal, but we don't have the wisdom to understand where is our foundation. Because if we're going to separate ourselves from a system, where are we now going? What are we now creating? And with some people going into the police and stuff like the military and stuff like that, what system do we have to be able to learn particular skill sets?
ISUPK.
Sorry? Not everyone is religious, and that's another thing in itself, because that's another point I wanted to hit on too.
My brother just said ISUPK, the home of the truth.
Yeah, so about that, like even the perspective of how we see the white man, we give the white man how in regards to is this my feedback? Oh, okay. With regards to the white man is the devil, at the end of the day, the white man has come in and he's done whatever he's done, but we fail to remember we allowed them to come in. We had our defenses down. So while we keep blaming the white man, no one's looking at, hold on, how do we not allow this to happen again?
If I could just quickly say something on that, Kalam, and I know somebody else on the line ready to go again, but
yeah, I'm right here ready to go. I don't know about a lot.
I want to hear a bit more about the ISUPK in terms of the military aspect. Could I have some information on that, please?
Yes. So we're going to go straight to Brother Mashak and I am. Then afterwards, we're going to go to Nige, who's waiting on the phone, and then Rash, you can come in afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, Kalam, and I just want to apologize to the brother who just was about to say something. I didn't catch his name, Respect. I'm gonna let you get back in real quick, but his sister made a valid point, and it's a point that that needs to be heard in our community, and that's when we realize how real things are. Like, when we say the white man is the devil, we should never forget that. The reason why the sister brought up that aspect of domestic violence at the forefront. Now, there are other things that are just as bad, the drug dealing, pedophilia, thievery, murder. But the aspect of domestic violence, she could resonate with either through personal experience or peer experience. And she is seeing that the only defense that she has against that action is the white man. And that's a continuation of the slave plantation through white supremacy. Let me tell you what white supremacy has done. White supremacy has used battle of the sexes to destroy the black household and has pit the brother against the sister. And when you destroy the image of the black male in a society, all protection goes out the gate. All protection, any sort of strength goes out the gate. So now, instead of fixing the black man and fixing the black woman as a solution to domestic violence, as a solution to drug dealing, as a solution to rape, robbery, and murder, now we turn to massa for the solution. And this is not a jab at the sister or disrespect, but this I've seen and been taught in this school that this is a strategy that this devil uses. And we have to be wise to it and understand that now, instead of calling this devil, I'll call it black man. Because you know what happened? This devil would come in and kick the brother out, beat his skull in, and then give the sister everything. And for a time, black women took the game up and used it sometimes vindictively and sometimes to really save their lives. But now guess what's happening? The cops showing up and killing your husband and killing your boyfriend. And then you crying why you had to shoot him, why you had to call him. And that's what we faced with. Instead of choosing the lesser of two evils, how about we choose C? Instead of A, evil one, and B, evil two, why not choose C? Put C on the paper and choose a black man and choose a black woman. And that comes from what you said initially. What is our alternative? Our alternative is the truth. The fact of the matter is Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the 12 tribes of Israel. we are not our own people. We don't belong to anybody else except the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's our father and he's our power. We obey his laws. Britons, thou shalt not kill. Where do you think that come from? Britons don't steal. Where do you think that come from? Britain's laws on sodomy that they want to turn around now and ban Sizzler and ban Bourgeois. Where do you think that come from? That come from the Bible. That's our book. And we need to return to that. And if we look at the greatest slavery ever in the history of the earth and the greatest revolution ever in the history of the earth, you have to go back to the Bible in the book of Exodus. Moses rose to be viceroy in Egypt. And viceroy means he was vice president. He was right up under the queen. He would be where Theresa May is right now. And Moses came out one day and saw the Egyptian slaying a Hebrew. He saw them cops with tridents killing Mark Duggan, and he killed one of them cops. He looked left, looked right, and put them in the dust. He came out the next day to see how his people was doing, and he saw two brothers fighting and say, hey, what y'all doing? They said, listen, nigga, who make you king over us? Moses realized one thing that day, that two conditions of slavery is police brutality and black on black crime. And that cannot be solved by killing one devil or one Egyptian or one oppressor. And that cannot be solved by breaking up one fight. That can only be solved by putting away the old man and the old woman, the slave of the earth, and returning to your most high power, who will kill the white man for you and have you walk him like the dog he is, and kill the Arab who sold your women into harems and sold your men into slavery, kill the Africans and the Chinese and the Koreans. They're beating up your women in the stores right now. They're beating them senseless. And the ISUPK has that solution. And for anybody who think we're just a bunch of Bible-thumping, gospel-singing Christians, we not. We fully trained. The founders of this school was ex-military men who found the truth in serving the devil, who went to war for the devil and realized that we cannot serve him anymore, and came back to the hood and took crackheads out the crack house, and took brothers in jail out the jailhouse, and took whores and strippers out the strip club, and built a nation that we could look to. You turn back to the laws of the Most High, you would see that your black people is gold, is diamonds. The problem is we've been trained to look at the white man like if he's something goddamn special, and he's the devil the Bible speaks of.
Can I just say one thing real quick? 2 things, 2 points. One, you didn't give us a solution because you went on that whole rhetoric, but you didn't actually say this is the process that we do. And 2, you just said that these people come from the military. So who were they trained by? Come on, like, you can't be saying that we shouldn't be going to the white man when your people came from the white man in the first place.
I will answer that question. My people did not come from the white man in the first place. You take a black man who ever went to the military and a white man in the military and tell me who's the superior warrior. Is that the result of any training? You take a brother who went to prison in the white man's prison and tell me if the white man's prison fixes him. The white man's system does not fix anything. Just like his education does not make us brilliant. You all heard what that fool, what's the doctor in America name? I forgot his name. Ben Carson just said. He's a brain surgeon, a graduate of the white man's finest school. And he said black slaves came to America as immigrants. That the white man's education or his system doesn't make you. It's the spirit of the Lord.
Point again.
Hold on, sis. I waited till you finish. That doesn't make you. So do not negate what brothers picked up as skills from this devil to their natural gift, which comes from the Lord. The military didn't build the UPK. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using that as an example of somebody who was in darkness, serving the white man and turned his back on the white man and used whatever tools and skills the white man gave in conjunction with the spirit of the Lord and the laws of the Bible to build a nation. And I did give you the solution. You come to the ISUPK and you learn how to serve the Lord and build your nation from within. That's your solution. That's your process. If you want to learn how to get out of this hell and build something strong, we look at the Arabs, a ton of our brothers joining these Muslims in London. I was just in UK. You think I don't know what I'm talking about? I drove down streets with Arab stores and Hindu stores. And these is terrorists in the white man's eyes. We don't have that because we don't have a community. They have one thing that binds them together. We do not. And we need to get that thing that binds us together, which is the blood in our veins, the sons of slaves that prophesied in the Bible. You come to the ISUPK, you're going to see some real power moves.
All right. Now, real quickly, for all of those people who are tuning right now and loving the information, please give us a big thumbs up on YouTube. Let us know that you're liking the information. Thumbs up, hit the like button. And please, if you think other people, you know, your family, your friends, your associates will like this information, please hit the share button, share it with everybody else. Let them know that you're watching Titans TV. And, you know, this is some powerful information that's going on right now. So, you know what? I'm going to bring my brother Nigel into this conversation. I want to mix things up. I definitely want to mix things up. I definitely want to get some more ladies to actually voice their own opinions as well. So, Nigel, right now, your respect. Soon as Nigel speaks, then you can come back in. All right. So Nigel is coming in right now. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
They can all hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, family, how you doing? You all right? It seems like there's some feedback, but
Go to.
I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yeah, we can all hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So, yeah, I'm trying to understand really where the brother's coming from. He's saying a lot. This is the brother who's from the I can't remember his name, but the brother that last spoke. So he's saying a lot of things, but let's get down to what the actual motion or what the actual question is that I believe he's suggesting or supporting that black people in this country withdraw from serving in the police and military. If I'm right in understanding that that's the question, and his solution for our community is that everyone who is of melanin withdraws from the frontline services of protecting our communities when we pay taxes to have that service, then I want to know one thing. I want to know what is his system of governance to replace those services and to protect the communities in this country that face the problems that we have. And I don't want to hear rhetoric about running to the white man, running to massa, because that is all a smokescreen. That's a misnomer, you know, because there's a big difference between serving a racist structure and being a racist. And I personally know many upstanding Black, Asian, people of color who serve in the forces with high levels of integrity and values and do brilliant work in their communities across all the different types of crime that are in our communities, not just murder, not just knife crime, not just guns, not just anti-terrorism, but I think Nam's mentioned domestic violence. You know, these are issues that we face every day. So if we don't have a police force to enforce the law, to protect and serve us, I want to know, what is he going to replace that service with, and where is his system of governance in Tottenham, in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Bristol, where we all face the issues that we face. Please give me the specifics, brother. And if you can tell me, yes, you have people on the ground, you have funding to supply support when people call for emergency help, then I will stand down and respect your argument. But until then, I think you really should just lean back and respect the fact that we pay taxes. We have a vested interest in this country. We help build this country. And when we are in need, we deserve to be able to call on a police force and services to help us, just as any other community in this country.
Good show. I definitely respond to that. And just to let the brother know, maybe you came in late. I did state clearly that I'm not casting a blanket on brothers and sisters, not melanated people, because there's some people who are the sons of white men who look like us and are devils themselves. But some brothers and sisters who go into the military and the police force with, in their mind, their intention is to do everything with the utmost integrity. And I clearly stated, I'm not casting a blanket. And I then proceeded to say, what they should do is get out of that service. I ain't never said go walk off the job tomorrow. You have to find a way to now transition that service you given to the white man and transition it to your people. Now, to what the brother is saying, we helped build this country. We did not help build the country. Help is voluntary. We were enslaved to build the country. We were forced to build the country. If you rape a woman and she get pregnant, did she help you have a son? Nah, you forced her. We were forced into this country. You understand? And now, like every other demographic, they are given, not priorities, they are given the freedom to have their own government over them and to have their own police over them. Now, my research as far-reaching, as far as I have been in UK just recently, in certain areas in the Arab community, they have their own justice system. They have their own leaders in the community, and they'll call them before they call the cops. And because of that, the white man lets them keep a certain amount of money in their community to help their community. That's what our churches and religious institutions are supposed to do. So now, if we want to build this, which we have built here in America and the ISUPK, and we're building in the process in the UK right now, starting in Birmingham, right there on right there close to Perry Bar. That's where the school is, with Officer Parashia, Officer Banyamian, Officer Karathi, Officer Dumgoba. Those brothers are building it right now and getting mobilizing and getting people involved. That's the process of it. You have to now start separating from your oppressor. And as you separating, you're becoming self-sufficient. This is what we have done over here in America. Now, in separating from your oppressor, if you believe in Allah and you believe in Caesar Borgia as white Jesus, and you believe in no God, what will happen even though we separate? We're still not unified. Before we talk about separating, before we talk about how we're gonna have protection, we need to be on that common ground. Both of them can happen at the same time. You start withdrawing and you start setting up your own community government, which the white man will let you have. How do I know? He don't want to be in your community anyway. That's what Brexit is all about. He don't want foreigners in his community. He would be happy if black people would do for themselves. Isn't that what he always say? You're all so lazy, y'all this, y'all can't do this for yourselves. But we are showing him right here, we do it for ourselves. You understand? And it's not rhetoric, it's not some smoke screen. And if you're willing to come put in some work, brother, unless you're willing to come put in some work, I suggest you fall back. Because what I'm talking about is overcoming 400 years of oppression. And it needs work. It don't need talk, and it don't need somebody who is willing to settle for 911 or 999 to come to your rescue all the damn time. I'm talking about getting brothers to come stand on the corner. Go in the Caribbean, go in the barrios and the reservations. Them brothers who on the block, go see what they do to thieves in their own community. Go see what they do to child molesters and rapists in their own community. You telling me we can't police ourselves? In the black community, we have something called no snitching. We know how to enforce a policy. The problem is we're learning how to enforce the wrong policies. And we need to start learning to build ourselves together and enforce our laws for our people. And it's going to take work. It's going to take committed brothers, not somebody who needs the white man as a safety net. If you need the white man as a safety net, no problem. Go ahead, keep calling it. Me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord and we're going to build this kingdom up under this kingdom right here in the UK, under this kingdom in America. And you're going to be calling ISUPK instead of 911 pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
With all due respect, you're quoting from a Bible that was used to subjugate us, brother. So I would suggest to you that there's some dissonance there. So really, if you're drawing on values and principles from the Bible that was used to oppress us, I think you have an ideological standpoint that is flawed from the get-go. Can you guys hear me?
You see how the question shifts.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
You see now how I drop it on you, and I challenge you to come and help me build my community, and you start attacking the Bible, but you're not attacking the white 911 officer who you just say you're relying on. You saying the Bible without proof was built on white supremacy. The Bible is not built on white supremacy. I think you should attack the same 911 institution you're relying on. That's what you should do first. And for the record, I ain't quote the Bible. I just came on.
Hold on, my brother. Hold on, my brother. 1 second. I like to have one person speak at a time. And at a time like this, I definitely want to introduce the feminine principle into this conversation, because we haven't had enough of the ladies actually speaking. So my brother Nigel, hold on for a little while. We're definitely going to get you back in again. But let's get some ladies in. Let's get some people that hasn't actually had their voice heard tonight. So we've got Dion. We've got Heather. Heather, come on, man. I haven't heard your voice. Okay, so you want to be silent now. You want to be silent? Okay, cool. It's cool. Any other females would like to actually jump in right now and actually have their say? No, you girls are trying to be quiet. All right, cool. I'm going to go.
No.
Who got it? Jasmine or Nams? Who's going in?
Go on, Jasmine. You can go.
Who's babe? There? Is it on? Yeah. All right, cool. No, obviously, I feel like to bring balance, I feel like it's two very interesting points, because on one hand, we are still at a point in our development where we need services, innit? And we are currently reliant on services from sources of white supremacy, but the aim should surely be, like the brother said, freeing ourselves of being reliable on these white supremacy systems that we complain so much about. So I don't feel like again, we do have people that go in that try to do something from a beneficial point of view. And again, nobody is knocking that. But we do have to also associate the fact that you have chosen to commit to a path which is on a whole is come about as trying to destroy us, isn't it? So from a balanced view, you could say people going in trying to get ahead, that's great and everything, but that's great as an individual. And like the brother said before me, we need to start thinking as a community and as a group. And if we can do this as working for the white man as we have been doing, we should be able to do this for ourselves. And the same way we feel it's comfortable to just go over and say, oh, let me just go join the police because it's there, or I want to do this. We should be actively right now working together, if you are of that mindset of what you can do and how you can, again, transfer those skills over into helping us first. Because again, otherwise we can't really complain about a problem if we're ready to make numbers. And that's the other thing as well, how we are treated within these services and within these forces is not always the best anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't really get fair representation of this, of the good that we are even trying to do. So I'm not saying that there is no point in anybody joining the police in general, but in mass numbers, the way traditionally young black males are used, especially in my area, are to be work within CID. Do you know what I mean? Because you look like the people that they are trying to nick. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're not really going in there and being given the positions and given the promotions and being given the opportunities to really grow and develop yourself and for all the good work we're trying to do. So until we've really rectified those positions and how people view us and how we are treated by maybe a more militant standpoint, we can't really enforce the change within their systems. And I feel like if we're not at that point where we can enforce them changes, and if people are saying, oh, well, that's just how it is, and we've addressed that we can't assert these changes, then like the brother said before me, we need to know how to transfer these skills over so we are not working for them, but working for ourselves, if that makes sense. Just a little balance. I don't know. But again, my opinion.
I like that. I like that. Wait
No,
there,
could I get in a quick point?
Could
I get a quick point in?
Brother, respect. I want the females to have their say before we get the male energy in. So, any other ladies would like to actually come in and chime in?
Yeah.
Hold on. Nams would like to say something, so let's let the Empress say something.
Dion? Yeah,
I'll let Dion go first. She hasn't spoken yet.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No. I was going off the back of what Jasmine said. She kind of said a lot of what I was going to say anyway. But at the same time, it's having a balance, because I feel as a community, I feel like we do have a very narrow perspective of how we view things. And yes, we are a nation individually, but at the same time, it's the thing of when it comes to a completely to enforce these things right now. So this is what I was saying, that with the point before, like we're very zealous in what we do, but we don't put things into perspective, and not everything will transition like that, like at one go. We can't just be like, okay, now we're going to put everything down and we're going to start policing our community. That comes with boundaries, because when you start to separate from the system, how is the system going to react to you now pulling away from that? How are you going to defend yourself from that? Like how and with this guy, like, yeah, I hear you, but I still haven't heard your plan. Like, I've heard a lot of Bible, so I still can't really take your plan as kosher, as a plan for the community, that it will work. There's still a lot that needs to be like, if I don't subscribe to your doctrine, how will that affect the rest of the community? How will you treat everyone else if they don't believe in the quote unquote law that you're preaching from your Bible? Because not everyone agrees with that. So, like, how do we deal with that?
Black people today don't subscribe or don't believe in UK's laws, but we still obey it, right? So how much more should we now look to see how well these things would benefit us, going on the record of it being used to bring our nation together, and now put our selfish ambitions aside, not saying you are selfish, but put our selfish ambitions aside and now say, I will do this for the betterment of my nation, of my children, of my generations. That's what UK did. That's what America did. When they went to war to bring America together, they wasn't getting along. Go look up John Adams. They were at war. That's when America's symbol was the snake with the 13 colonies. They were at war with each other. But for the betterment of their nation, 200 years later, they have the most powerful empire on the face of the earth.
I totally agree with you, and I agree that there's unity, but unity doesn't have to come in a form of religion. Unity just comes with us just being on the same page and being like, bro, we're in a frigged up like situation right now. We all just need to get free. How do we get free? Let's make it more open. Do you get what I mean?
Okay. Let me give it over to our sister Dion first, and then I'm going to pass it to Respect, and then we can get my brother Nigel back in.
Okay. In terms of what you guys are saying about religion and things like that, I think at the end of the day, what comes first is nation building nation. So regardless and irrespective of whether you're Islamic or Christian or whatever, black comes first in it, first and foremost, and everything else. I think I went to one Kwanzaa event and you had Nation of Islam, you had all different groups of people there, but one thing they said, you know what I mean, everyone must unite on a common ground, and that's for the progression of our people. Do you see what I'm saying? And going back to the original question about the terrorism and whether it affects us, I think on an individual level, and how we are in the system, or if you're around, you know what I mean, where these terror attacks are happening, yeah, it does affect us. And when they are misrepresenting us and putting our face on things that we're not involved in, then yeah, it will affect us in that way. And like it's been said before, that we need to stand up and speak up on these issues. Do you know what I mean? And these things that are happening and whatnot. I did actually have a point to say. I can't remember what it is, but someone wants to chime in on what was just being said, or what the actual question was. So I wanted to go back to the question, because I think we just went a bit off topic. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of revolution as well, and this has also been said before in the group and in previous discussions, I think we need to police ourselves, and these things, I think by us acting on these things is a start. Yeah, we can't just, you know what I mean, in one go just detach ourselves from the system, like we're in the system whether we like it or not. But we still need to we still need to be self-sufficient, and we still need to be doing for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's like even the video that was posted in the group today that I posted with you know, what's his name, Brother Davis from Manhood Academy, and other brothers there policing the schools. Do you know what I mean? Those things are a start. We need to start policing our own communities and yeah, and doing for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we know that they're not for us, so we have to be about ourselves. Do you know what I mean? And we can't look on what's failing, and if we do this, then you know that's going to happen. We got to start somewhere, otherwise we're still going to be going around in circles on this, you know what I mean, depending on the government and whatever. But yeah, we have to be ready for a revolution. We can't just go out there and, do you know what I mean, be physical, whatever, when we can't sustain ourselves in all areas, whether it's agriculture, you know what I mean, doctors, lawyers, do you know what I mean, proper representation, psychologists. In every area we need to be in there. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's my 2 pence.
Yeah, perfect. I heard you. Respect. Go ahead.
Yo. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but there's many people that have never used the police. I personally have never used the police, and I'm sure there's plenty of other brothers and sisters who haven't. Now, from a perspective, during slavery, there were house slaves, yeah, who felt that they had to protect the overseer because they believed that they had an investment in that society that was enslaving their people. And during slavery, slaves, which was more with the community, and they didn't run to the master when they had disputes. They actually dealt with the disputes amongst their brothers and sisters. Yeah. So I think even from slavery, because remember the officer, yeah, back in the day, he used to be an overseer. He used to protect property, and that property includes. This is why police till this day are so used to chasing after black people. This is why anytime they're arresting black people, they use 10 officers for one man. Like that since slavery. Nothing has changed. All that has changed is the uniform, but the actual job title was the same. That's why they have prisons for profit. So in prison is actually a slave. So let me get back onto the point. So saying that I do not believe we can police our own communities. The Jewish police their own communities, and every black man and black woman has brothers. They have friends, would call them, but as the brother said, we don't have as much faith in our family, in the friends that we choose, in the community. We put more faith into the white man, and I'd say that is more where the issue is, because I don't feel like I'd never need to call police, because call people if it was necessary. To balance those statements, this system does owe us reparations. So all of the benefits from this to the fire engine service, if we need it, are owed on to us. But I don't think that we should then say and because of the positives of the system, I don't think that outweighs the negative 400-year history. This is our people. I keep it short and sweet.
Sweet. Now we're gonna get a little bit controversial. The reason why we're gonna get a little bit controversial is because we've got my brother Nigel here on the phone that he just wants to get it all out. So give me a hot second and let me get him on for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not that I want to get it all out. It's that I'm kind of upset with this whole conversation from the state side. You know what I'm saying? Because the narrative and the paradigm from the states, there's no comparison to what's really happening on the ground in this country. And let me start by saying, I agree with the separatist ideology. I agree with that. I understand that. That's what Marcus Garvey stood for. Self-reliance and self-dependence and independence from a white supremacist system. I'm for that. I understand that. But we have to understand there's also different forms of policing. And if we're talking about withdrawing our service to the police force, that for me makes no sense until you have a system of governance in place. Now, the brother is talking about how we collude with master, how we run with master. Ras is talking about the house Negro and red tear. And at the end of the day, they are not offering a solution. They are not offering a phone number that someone can call tomorrow if there's a knife crime and a black police force, independent of the white police force, comes to serve that person. And until you are in that position, I think it's wise for you to fall back. If you have your system of governance, which is not independent in and of itself, because having that system of governance where you have policing as one service requires you to have a whole variation of services and a whole community structure. Unless you have that, then you are not really qualified to say we should withdraw our from the police force. That's all I'm saying. Yes, we can transition to a system of self-governance like Jewish people do. They have their own culture. They protect their culture. But let me also say as well, no one is going to trust the system which is predicated and built on a foundation of a Bible which we are trying to get away from. What kind of dissonance is it for you to say we need to leave the oppressor, we need to disengage with the oppressor, but you use the main oppressor's tool? Does that make any sense? So you are a walking contradiction, and you will never have authority from people and the trust from people who need a solution and want to disengage, but have a Bible which was used to subjugate them in the first place. So for me, you are full of confusion, and you need to sort your own house out. You need to sort your own house out before you come telling people to leave their own house and stand on the street with you and be poor and broke like you lot are.
Oh, so that's what this is about. This is about money. This is, Kalam, you have to let me answer this one. That's what this is about. And let me tell you something. If you think we poor and broke, brother, the men in this school have engineering degrees. The men in this school are professors in universities. The sisters in the school are doctors and lawyers. Ain't nobody poor and broke. And if we poor and broke, it's because we give our money to black people. It's because we go and we bail black people out when the system fails. Now, this brother, just before I rudely cut him off, I did it purposely, but I apologize ahead of time. You said, you said, I want you to leave your house and join ours. Now, the house I'm talking about is black people. What house are you talking about? The police force that serves the white man? Is the color blue more important to you than your black skin? And it's obvious by now you are a member of some police force because you're taking this ridiculously personal. I already said I don't mean everybody to walk off the job tomorrow, but if you agree with separatism, if you agree with being separatist, if you agree with transition, if you want a black police force to show up at the house of a burglary, of a murder, of a rape victim, then brother, not officer, not Boppy, not CID or CIA or Trident, then that force will come from the transition of those people who get out of serving the white man tonight and tomorrow and the next day. And in a year, we'll have a force. In 2 years, we'll have a bigger force. In 3 years, this house will be bigger and more powerful than any judgment blood clot police station. You telling me about leaving house? Oh. You telling me about leaving one house to be broke like me in the street serving another house? I'd rather be a homeless, eating out a garbage can nigger than a rich police officer putting handcuffs on black people. For a minute I thought you were a brother. For a minute I thought you understood. But you could never be defending staying in an institution that murders black people, even though your heart is good, brother. If my heart is good and I'm in a room where black men are raping a woman, and I don't do anything, but I say, you know what? I'm not part of the rape, but I'm doing my job. Am I still not an accomplice? Let me tell you something. I'm laying an indictment out here tonight. And this ain't nothing personal to any brother who's in the force or sister who's in the force. You are an accomplice to white supremacy. You have a badge and talking about protect and serve. You are an accomplice to white supremacy. And you should leave. And you should be willing to go broke for your people. You should be willing to sacrifice for your people. You want to beat the white man, don't even want to do what he did. You know what his forefathers had to do to get UK? You know what his forefathers had to do to get America? Brother, if you have to beat the white man, at least be willing to sacrifice what he did. Or else you sit down. I'm talking about serious issues with black people. I've seen England, I've seen UK, I've seen the Arabs oppress black people and take what we have. Take our communities, take our businesses, and raise up their own police force, and raise up their own travel agents and their businesses, have little micro governments in UK. And you telling me you can't do that? And them Arabs ain't pick a lick of cotton. They ain't cut an ounce of sugar cane. And you can't do that for a goddamn police check? Nah. I want brothers who want to come in the community and police the community. And go home and give up the money so black women don't get raped. Now, if you want to get a goddamn check and some judgment pension from the queen, go ahead. Go ahead. Suck the nether end of the white man's ass if you want to. Excuse me, Kalam.
Jeez. Fire on the mountain. Listen. Order, my brother Nigel. You know what? Yeah, we've literally reached the end of the show. I just want to know, like, I don't know if I can carry on any much longer. Like, this is after 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm pretty sure people got children and all sorts that they need to wake up in the morning for. What I'm actually going to do is carry on this conversation, hopefully behind the scenes off air. That's why I'm going to try to carry on this conversation. My YouTube audience, how are you guys feeling? Are you enjoying the show so far? You know, we've got somebody here, Donman01, and he says ISUPK. That's right. And also bars. Now let me just quickly try to read out as much comments before I can, before we have to go. Africa Black Chaos Davis says fire. Human Being says don't forget 400 years. It says here the man on the phone is something to his heart. We seek massa. So yeah, I see where you guys are going over here on the YouTube world.
Kalam, if I could say one more thing before we go. Raspek, if I could say one more thing before we go, and this is again just to get back on the original topic, which is what attracted me to ask Kalam to be part of the panel tonight, which was the terrorist attack. Now, Mark Duggan got killed and it wasn't on the media. These terrorists, whatever happened in Westminster, Both sides have a government and a people that would bleed and cry for them. We do not have it because we are filled with influential, powerful people who rather take a check than go broke or die for their people. And that's the important thing. The only victim in any terrorist attack is still Black people. The only victim in any mega billion-dollar merger in the world is Black people. The only victim when a business goes out of business is Black people. Because we're the only people who don't have a fence around us. We don't have a safety net. And until you're willing to give up your comfort, that little cushy chair you sit behind in, and that microwave and that fridge, to go help somebody who getting their face kicked in, or to go help a brother who have a gun in his mouth, or to go help some crack whore and let her know she better than who she is. And then baby she aborted in her darkness don't matter. She could be a beautiful princess again. Don't tell me nothing about no white man check and no 911, man. Don't tell me nothing about that. Just let me tell you something. Them terrorists have a certain amount of power and the white man have power. And we should both be envious that we don't have it. And we should be so envious, we give up everything and come together. Come together and stick with it and go through the rough and the arguments and everything and build a Black house for Black people. And then we can pay each other a goddamn check.
Yeah, man. Africa.
Excuse me.
Commissioner, Black Power Day. Respect. Go ahead. And then I'm going to go to my brother Malik. And then I'm going to have to close out the live section. The live section is going to get closed down, but we're going to continue this conversation off air.
Yeah, obviously, I said earlier, we don't call no police around here, you know what I'm saying? We got the brothers there. Yeah. It's not a Black family. Black fist, Black power. Black fist, Black power. God, we just need another 295 man in the UK, and then we start policing the whole thing. Yeah,
That's
300. When we reach the 300, we'll be hitting the roads.
That's right.
100 of us put £100, yeah, together, then that's £30,000. That's 30 grand. That's a 30 grand budget to start our own police force. That's but I'm not going out there till we got online, because you know how the sabotage thing goes already, my brothers and sisters. But the vision is there, and the powers is there. You see, you might can see the powers. Them. Yeah, yeah. Power Ranger. Love.
I love that. Brother Malik, go ahead.
Obviously, come on, like, we don't need to be dealing with them in that respect. We've tried to deal with them before, you get me? And look how it turned out for us in the end, you get what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, as a Black man or a Black woman or a melanated person, you can't be working for them, do you get what I'm saying? And like my man said, terrorists, yeah? If something happens to a terrorist, they back each other. Do you get what I'm saying? They've got each other, so we need to have each other's back, so we don't have to go and work for the police. But like my man said, a lot of Black people, we like money. You get what I'm saying? We like materialistic things, innit? Yeah. And we like to sell out for small change, blood. That's how it always goes. We sell out for small change. We need to stop doing things like that and see the bigger picture. You get what I'm saying? Because people need us. It's getting long now dealing with white people. Tried this. So time to move on and do our own thing. But like Respect says, we need 295 more soldiers. So let's get recruited. You get me?
294.
294 now. You get me? So
there you go. That's how you do it.
All right. And also, if anybody would like to get in contact with ISUPK over here in London, or over here in the UK, the phone number is 079 35392139. I'll repeat, if you want to get in contact with ISUPK, there's one Black organization that is providing a solution for Black people so far. The number here is 07935392139. I'm going to give it over to you again, my brother. Actually, no, Nige. Let me get that last bit of controversy in before we close out.
Listen, no one is advocating selling out your people for money, yeah? And like I said, I agree with the separatists ideology. You know, I agree that we need to police our communities with our own standards, according to our own culture and laws. There's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is this, is that if you believe that you are going to gain authority in the community for people to trust you using a Bible and then castigate them for being part of the police force, which has a racist structure and part of white supremacy, which I agree it is, then you are confused in your own mindset. Yeah, you have your own dissonance, and people will not trust that. When your whole foundation is based on a scripture that was used to subjugate us, then you will not gain the trust and authority in the community. You will not gain the power to police those communities, not in the UK and not amongst people that I know anyway. And my final point is that it's all well and good saying, yeah, bun Babylon, we need to this, we need to that, don't take the check, disengage, blah, 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 blah. But until you have a plan of action which can come and rebuild the communities and implement real change, real solutions on the ground, when your plan is there, your finances in place, your organizations are in place, ratified by constitutional law, by law of the, then fine.
Which
yes,
constitution?
But
White
time,
man's constitution?
don't come
Wait,
to us.
which constitution is being ratified?
Sharia law. They tried to do this in Islam, which is Sharia
After you, brother, I got a quick something to say.
Down, and for you to say, you know what, we should do this is fine. We should come with how. Yeah, when you can come with how, then I think you'll be qualified to speak. Until then, your gums are flapping in the wind and you have no authority.
I gave you how, and you had me initially because I do believe you have a sincere heart towards it. But then you said we have to build something that's ratified by constitution. You again looking for validity from our slave master. Which constitution validifies Sharia law? Which constitution validify the Asian, the Korean community? Who they asked to eat dog, cat, and rat? Huh? Who they asked to do that? They didn't ask nobody for that. They do it. They come together and they do it. And we have the solution. Now, for what you said about the Bible, guns was used to oppress black people. Rope and whips were used to oppress black people. Do black people scared of guns now? They are a tool, and the Bible is a tool. And what the UK and America used to build their empire is not what the Bible said. They took one line and passed Christianity. Christianity is built on one line. I read in the Bible the white man is the devil. That's in there in Revelation. I read in the Bible that he that leads into captivity must go into captivity. That's the fate of the white man. I read in there that his kingdom is going to fall and is falling right now. I read in there that God is going to prepare the way of the kings of the East for destruction. Who are the kings of the East? Your sheiks and your rulers of Saudi empires. That's biblical prophecy. They didn't teach that to slaves though, because they would have rebelled. That same book that they used to enslave the slaves, guess who read that book too? Nat Turner. Guess who read that book too? Marcus Garvey. Guess who read it? Malcolm X. Guess who else read it? Moses, who led the only successful slave revolt ever in history. And tell me about the Bible ain't got no place in any black community. The only thing that don't got place in the black community is a brother or sister who is looking for the white man to pat them on the back and say, good nigga boy, now you could go build your community. I don't want no certificate for the white man. He could keep his goddamn check. In fact, if I tell you all my business, we make our own money right here, above the board, tax code, everything, 1099 business. I take brothers out of prison cells and give them checks to build their families. Then tell them, come join me on the streets so white people could bow down and kiss my goddamn boots. And I take calls in the middle of the night to go rescue black people. Don't let me read out our card here for you. My record long and speaks for itself because I learned from Commanding General Yohana, a man who gave his life and impoverished his own self so other black people could live. Now, until you're ready to do that, you sit down in your police chair.
Jeez, fire. Russ?
Yeah, well, go on. Yeah, good.
Ras, we gotta link up. Raspect, we gonna link up. I'm gonna send them brothers down to check you out. All them soldiers there who nobody don't like and the community looking down on, Them niggas is gonna be the brothers who people calling. Go ahead, Ark. I just want to interrupt you there. I'm gonna come send them brothers to check you out.
All right, cool. I sent you. So yeah, my thing is all of my brothers. I can't lie. All them brothers I showed you, they're about they're man that background on the road. So obviously them man are playing a big part in the gang intervention right now, and them man for and making sure they got the finances into their community. And I think that's the most important thing. We're gonna have ambitious people. We're gonna have successful people. Man, that like I only impoverished myself. And all of them brothers can tell you, while them brothers was making money, I was in the community doing things. The brothers have got respect for me. You know what I'm saying? Impoverished myself to try to build a school in Africa, and we're still trying to build that as we speak. And we still want to do us policing the police. So that's where we're trying to go with this thing. Now, I don't think we're, like I said, white supremacy owes us. So where it's wise, we should use the system how the system uses us when they're ready. You know what I'm saying? They put us in the things for their own agendas. You know what I'm saying? But what we're saying is we can't try to justify this system. We can't try to protect this, shed no tears for this system. That's all we're saying. We're not judging black people within the system because we understand that we're all trying to survive no matter where we're at. But once you're a police officer, we know that you could be compromised. This is why I say anyone who works within those systems, they should know things on a need to know basis. And they should be happy with that because we know that they know what I'm saying. And finally, when I'm talking about these army men that are gaining their defenses, it's not because we want to go fight the system. It's because we should always be, if necessary. This is why we was enslaved in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just wanted to make those couple points clear.
Can I just chime in real quick?
Go ahead, Dion.
Okay. In terms of the police force, and I think Nigel mentioned like we can't actually create our own police force. I think eventually we could, but I think it's about starting, and like Rasta, it's all about defending ourselves. And there was a sister that after there's a 14-year-old boy that got stabbed in Croydon, and there was a sister that said she stood around and waited to make sure. Oh no, sorry, this is a different incident. But she stood around she said the youth were rude, but she waited around just to make sure that they understood that there's someone that had their back. And I think that's what we need in our community. It's all about maybe not creating a whole entire police force that's going to cover every area or whatever in terms of policing, but start from somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So where we see the little injustices happening, we need to put people need to be there to be, do you know what I mean, put in place to act. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know what I mean, you know, something, I don't know, you know, it's your neighbor, something's going on with your neighbor and whatever. Just like the brother said about the Caribbean, because that's what I love about Jamaica. They have that community vibe. Do you know what I mean? Something going on, the community get involved. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what we need to do for ourselves. Do you get what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you.
Kalam, let me just say one. Kalam.
Go ahead.
I forgot one point. I'm an African spirituality first, innit? So me, I'm about my own intuition, my own experiences, my experiences with nature before anything else. You know.
All right. This is what I'm gonna say right now. You know,
but you, as most of you know, I've read the Bible from start to finish, read the Quran, and I'm extremely fond of the Bible. Is try to judge anyone in his opinions based upon their religious or spiritual belief, because and it's divisive, and we don't need any of that energy. No matter what religion or whatever way we're liberating ourselves, on African spirituality, and it doesn't take away from any of the facts that anyone in here is bringing. I'm going to finish it by reminding us that Marcus Garvey, black people, Toussaint Louverture used African spirituality to liberate black people. Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad, they used Islam is liberating black people. Let's not try to get into all of that. Thanks.
All right. So as my brother was saying, you know, we can use biblical texts for our liberation. Malcolm X and so forth use the Quran for the liberation as well. So, you know, these tools are there for our liberation. It's dependent upon the mind and the nature of the human being utilizing these tools. As you know, fire can be used to burn a man alive, or fire can be used to feed a man and his family. So the tool is not necessarily the thing that's wrong. It's the nature and the man behind it that is utilizing those tools. So you know what? We've literally come to the end of the show. My brother Nige at the end was agreeing a lot with what my sister Dion was saying about community policing and so forth. You know what? There was so much we've gone through for this show so far, you know, definitely in how the black community will be affected by the terrorist attacks. Definitely, should we feel any sorrow for those people affected with inside of it? Should we actually partake in the white supremacist organizations? Should we partake in the police organization, etc.? Hopefully, we can continue this discussion on a future show. And I think, you know, as things unfold in the news, especially in regards to this supposed terrorist attack that happened in Westminster yesterday, I'm pretty sure we're definitely going to have further conversations. I want to have conversations about should we actually partake in being members of parliament? Should we become, or raise our children to become future prime ministers, to become members of parliament? Should we engage in politics at all? You know what? Should we be so militant, and should we take on certain Islamic ideology as being so militant and being able to protect those people across the seas? Should we take on that ideology, or should we shun that ideology? Should we, praise the actions of such terrorists, supposed terrorists or freedom fighters that are fighting, or should we shun it, and should we stay far away from it and kind of keep our children from joining organizations such as Islam, which has a very bad negative name so far? So definitely there's so much different avenues that we should definitely go through and touch in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy to actually have so many of our UK community join us on Talk with the Titans. It's been a very passionate discussion, but at the same time a very civil and I don't know what's the word, how can I say it, insightful conversation so far. And I definitely want to give a special thanks and shout outs to Mashak Mayam from the ISUPK, coming from the USA down here in the UK, and actually spreading this light and spreading this information. So you know what, I'm actually going to close out right now for the live show, but please
say one thing, Kalam. I just want to say thanks for having me on, and to your panel, even the brother who called on the phone, Nigel, and once again, none of this is personal respect. Who else is there? Kush, Joel, Jenny Vision, Dion, the sister Naomi, who stepped off for a second. And what you all brought definitely was extremely valid. And I think I heard one common undertone is that we definitely need to do something as a people for ourselves. What we can, as this panel really couldn't agree on was how, but it's at least a good step that we are not now. The argument is not joining the UK or joining the Arabs, but what, as Black people living in Britain, the descendants of slaves, what we need to do for ourselves. And I definitely commend and give tip my hat to all of y'all. And I hope to meet you all soon again when I return to the UK to help build our community strong and tight again, so we could give Nigel a job. I'll pay a check, Nigel. Don't worry.
All right. Shalom, King. All right. So yeah, definitely we're gonna close out now. Thank you, our audience members who actually tuned in. I'm seeing you guys shouting out us and giving us your peace and your love and your thanks. Also, please, if you can, share this link with everybody in your network. Share on your Facebook, your YouTube, your Googles, your Reddit, wherever it is. Please share it. Instagram, even share it as much as possible. And hopefully we can get much more of our UK community involved with these discussions. I'm going to try my very best. Okay, I know I've been slipping and slacking. I'm going to try my very best to actually put on more shows for our audience, because I think now is not necessarily time for unity. I know a lot of people are screaming out unity, unite. I think right now is our time to actually share our opinions, learn from each other, and kind of gather, our footing. Where are we right now, and what is the best step forward in the future? And then we can possibly unite once we work out all of the kinks. So thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Talk with the Titans, and I've been your host, Kalam L. And hopefully
as well.
Say again?
We can't forget to thank Titan TV for hosting us.
Definitely. Big up Kalam for
well done.
Big up Kalam for putting in some work and sacrificing, spending his money to do his thing to help his people, He ain't worried about the check. He collect. Black people worth more to him than a pound. Black people don't depreciate. The pound does.
Yeah.
Right. So one thing that I'm going to ask. Please go to the donation thing and make a donation. It could be £1, it could be £2, it could be £5. I will be making my donation. I'm not speaking without donation, so we can help to build platforms like this so they can get bigger and better. Love, man's out.
Love, peace.